Welcome to 23 Degrees Sideways. Today we're going to talk about Portland a little bit. I've got to talk about Portland a lot, but that's going to be like 30 minutes of video, so let's keep this one really short. Several years ago, around about Ferguson time, I wrote one of my articles, one of my preparing for Civil War articles. I've written several on Google+, and I'm slowly transitioning them into videos for my other channel over on Santroga Surplus. And this article was about what to do if you're in a car and you get stuck in a riot. And the basic idea is move, keep rolling. All right. If you're stuck in a traffic jam and the riot comes to you, and they're gonna flip they're not just walking by. They have just picked you out and they're gonna flip your car. You need to move back, forward, crash into cars, get yourself a free lane, a free space, and roll. Do not stop moving. Don't move fast. You don't have to go 20 miles an hour and actually crunch people. 2 miles an hour, but you gotta move. They cannot roll your car or you will die. And if you're in a riot area and you're trying to drive out, just keep it going. Keep it slow, keep it steady, but do not stop, because if you stop, you're in very serious danger. Now, at the time, I wrote it from a military veterans perspective. I've seen this happen in other parts of the world, and every time people die. Now, for whatever reason, the soy milk that they're all drinking in their lattes or whatever, the BLM people and the Antifa people in the United States have not been quite capable of consistently killing people, burning their bodies, and running them up and down the streets as trophies, like they do in the rest of the world. So we have a bunch of wimps as far as that goes, but good. We don't actually want to have people dead, but the rules are still the same, and it keeps escalating. This case in Portland on this weekend, I woke up and I watched it this morning. I didn't pay attention over the weekend. I usually wait until we've got all of the video from all of the cell phones in Portland, because I watch this. I've been watching this for years, a couple of years, every weekend in Portland, right? Hell, I was since a year before Andy No got brain slammed. They've been doing this for a long time. And, this morning I look and there's a guy, apparently his truck went into a wall and they chased him into a wall, or forced him to crash is the way it was, and they dragged him out and beat him near to death. And then stole everything out of his truck. He had a camper shell with his camping stuff, picnic supplies, whatever, his truck box. He was actually kind of looked like he had some prepper stuff in there. Not guns, but food totes and water bottles and stuff. They took it, because that's what BLM does. They steal. Don't know why, but whenever you get a BLM event, there's theft. Go figure. I don't know. Middle-class white people want to steal shit to prove they're part of the hood? Whatever. Y'all are dumb. So I look at the story more, and so basically what happened is the guy's car stopped, and he got pulled out and thumped. All right, near to death. Exactly what I talk about, and I hate it. So here's the story that came out, is that he was actually escorting a couple of girls, one female sex girl, the other male sex, but girl, transgender, out of the protest riot area because they wanted to leave, and he was giving them an escort. He was an ally. I think that's the word they use. He was an ally. So in the process of trying to leave, apparently the fact that you're in a vehicle makes you a right-wing extremist aggressor anywhere where Antifa and BLM have decided to have a riot. So they, tried to stop him, tried to block him. He tried to drive around them and not over them, and ended up crashing into a wall, and they beat him up and kept beating him up. And then he sat up and got kicked in the head again. They just kept going and going and going, and there's video of the girls leaving, crying, running, and Antifa's like, "Oh yeah, it's okay," because I don't get it. There's some stuff in this that I don't get. There's crowd dynamics in here I don't get. you know. I mean, I know there's Marxists. I know there's wobbly operatives in there. I strongly suspect that there's Chinese intelligence agencies in some of the insurgency cells in the U.S. You know, and I'm not being crazy here. This is basic stuff, all right? There are insurgency cells. I used to do protests. I used to protest things like I did the UPS strike. I've done borders with the whole Michael Moore thing back in the 90s. I've been to the anti-war protests. I've been to protests in D.C. I've done it. I have even been paid for it. But I never went down there. Like, I know who these people are. I know where they are. Okay, I know they're involved. Okay, there's a reason a spontaneous protest has pre-printed signs or signs on demand. You know, you can run an overnight print job at a union shop for any Marxist event. No questions asked. People know people who know people, and it's the CP and the Wobblies and whatever. DSA, well, no, DSA is a bunch of fucking wimps. I mean, seriously, they are so sad. The Black Bloc laugh at them. But there are these cells. They do exist, and they exist to agitate. They exist to foment. They do exist to destroy America's government. Like, there's advocacy about that. You could just, like, go back to where I used to live in Davis. You can go on campus and have meetings about this. It's not that hidden. But whatever. So, I don't know. Maybe there were insurgent cell members who decided this beating was going to get worse. Maybe it was just mob rules. I don't know how it happened. The fact that the girls weren't stomped and were whisked away speaks to me that there was probably some insurgency optics going on. Take it for what it's worth. Wasn't there. Haven't been involved in the protest scene in it's been 18 years now. Doesn't change much, but not good people. All right? Other people. Portland this weekend went weird, okay? It was the weekend of attacking people for walking down the street or driving. They decided that the whole city is theirs. So, you know, another couple, male, female, just walking, and they're trying to get out of it. They keep saying, we're just walking. We don't want anything to do with it. And they have to get beat up. Stuff like that. They're not filming. They're not doing anything. They're just beat up for the sake of being beat up because they were a couple. Maybe they were white. Video's not clear. They were definitely lighter complexioned, but I couldn't promise you that they weren't Hispanic or Asian. One of the lighter Asian. People think all Asian is the same, but it's not. So, one of the lighter Asian nationalities, ethnicities. Anyway, Portland went weird. And I'm kind of pissed because this is where things go really wrong. I understand Portland's mayor doesn't want to step on their toes, but at some point in time, no matter how much the media tries to blame, the media was literally blaming it on the driver of the truck, the guy who got beat up. It was his fault for getting beat up. If you look on social media and you get into some of the Black Bloc feeds and groups on Instagram, hashtags, whatever you're following, that's the spin. A white supremacist came and tried to take us down, and look at what we did to him. We beat him up. We're awesome. That's the spin, you know? And they're celebrating it either way. They're celebrating assault either way, okay? But he wasn't trying to run them down, all right? If he was trying to run them down, it would have been Charlottesville, all right? The guy was in a truck. All you got to do is push that gas pedal, all right? This is so fucked up. And we're at the point of the video where I need to end it. I need to have a message. I need to have that thing. This is the point where it goes bad, okay? The government of many regions is tacitly supporting gangs of thugs and insurgents attacking people at random, and you pay the privilege tax by getting raped, beaten, dead, stolen, whatever, that's not going to end well. That's going to divide the country because other places are not going to accept that, all right? If you're in Portland and you have a concealed carry permit and you draw your gun and you shoot because 17 Antifa people have decided that you are a target, you're going down. I mean, the best thing you can do is pray that you were wearing a really good mask, that there's no fingerprints on the shell casings, and that you got away and got into hiding and just disappeared, because they will crucify you no matter what. Okay? Doesn't matter how many bones are broken, nothing that the mob can do to you justifies self-defense. Be very careful about that. And if you're in Portland, leave. Get out. I have a relative in Portland who is very liberal, and we can't actually discuss anything since 2016 because everything has to be about Trump evil. Like, you literally cannot discuss an issue with him because it has to. The conversation has to change. And a couple weeks ago, we're doing the thing about the federal officers arresting people, but secret kidnap squads, and his Facebook feed has people commenting, "Oh yeah, a bunch of my friends have disappeared. I haven't heard from them all day, and they're just disappeared." And so I asked some hard questions, like, give me the numbers. What's actually going on? Oh, well, we're dealing with Trump's secret police. You can't find the numbers. That's always hard to find. Whatever, all right? Turns out there wasn't much to that. But I asked a question. What's the point? What is the point of this? This is not a Black Lives Matter protest anymore. It never was in Portland. Portland's been doing this for years. And I never get an answer. I've asked that question of him several times, different subjects. He's like, well, you can't blame all of BLM. You can't tar all of BLM just because a couple bad apples do a couple things. I'm like, this is not a couple things. Portland is years of this. So I asked that question. What are you actually protesting now? What is being protested? What is the goal? I know what the goal is. I've been in the circles. The goal is the eradication of the United States. I know the goal. I don't know what they want after that or with that. They want their own power. What happened in Portland is bad. Dead serious, no bullshit. If you live in a place where that happens, leave, move. You may have to take a loss on your house. You may have to find another job and it won't pay as well. But you have no option for self-defense. You can get caught up in it at any time. They can come to your house. They can catch you because you worked late at work. They can catch you on your way to work because the sun's not up. Winter's coming. Darkness is their friend. Leave. Get out of it. Because it's going to get bad. It already is bad. It's going to get worse. Stay sideways.